Now I want to go through and show you how you might use the system to do an assignment for a class or maybe to practice something for a class. So again, you're logged in as you see. You want to make sure you're on the test clinic like so. A couple different ways you might do this. Your professor might tell you to um, create a patient with a certain name. They might tell you to give the patient your last name or some distinguishing code so your patient doesn't get mixed up with a classmate's patient. They may also ask you, they may go in and set up a patient and tell you to open that patient and complete the documentation. They might do it halfway and ask you to do that. So that's really your professor's discretion of how they might do that. But let's say you have a patient set up, and we already taught you how to do that. If we go into schedule, and you would create your patient, you could create a patient here, or you could go into patient, and actually you just create the patient there would be the easiest thing to do. Create that patient and then use that patient there. So if I was assigned a patient, I might name them Bob Putoff. That would indicate to the professor that this is a patient from Mike Putoff. So I would go into here and I could search for that patient I just set up. I'm going to use our example of Bar that we talked about earlier, and there's our fake patient. We can click that name and we're into her screen now. And yeah, I showed this to you in a different video. So if you're starting from scratch, what you might do is you would go into here and go into documents, and then you would go in and you'd hit new doc to start a brand new document. Now, if you are searching for a patient's name that your professor already set up and you searched out and the patient's name was Candy Bar, there might be that note halfway started right down there. Okay, but we're going to assume first that this is a brand new patient or a brand new note. So again, hit new X, and then the professor should hopefully tell you which template they want you to use. I'm going to say we're going to use just the simplest SOAP note because SOAP notes tend to cross multiple professions, and we'll choose this template. But again, it could be any template based on what your professor wanted you to do. And then you could hit subjective and go through and just do the note that you would for this assignment. So patient states she slept poorly last night due to pain, took pain meds with limited relief. And you can go on and on and on based on what the patient tells you in that point there. And then your objective, just like we did in previous ones. In previous videos, you might have saw this. If you walked to the health clinic, you could type in all your objectives. So, reviewed home exercise program, practiced breathing, exercises for pain control, whatever the case might be that you did with your client. And then you come down here for assessment and, patient reported less pain after session, should benefit from new exercises, and whatever you might need there. And here is where you may use this. Again, depending on your assignment, you could go in here and use your diagnostic code. And I already have low back pain in there, so I'm just going to stick that in there just to make my life easier. And you see it's on there. Then plan, we're going to work on functional training that relates to her job. Okay, and then you might come in here, find your CPT codes, and we did, we'll say a therapeutic procedure. And again, however many units you might want there. And now your note's done. Notes, and again, that might just be a separate place to put other information that you might need. So we are pretty much done with our assignment. Now your professor might just get online, get into the EMR system and grade it right from here, or he or she might ask you to download and the PDF. So you could click your PDF, and depending on what browser you're using, you could hit download. You could hit print if they wanted you to turn in a paper version, whatever the case might be. You might download it and then upload it to Blackboard for grading. Again, the professor will guide you through the process of how you might do that. You're all done with that. You can hit save if you want to. It'll save it. This is not a real patient. So you may not really need to sign off, but your professor may tell you to sign off on it, indicating that it's done, especially if the professor is going to go into the system and grade it in the system. So you hit sign off and you see there's the note that I just did right there. It's listed as signed by me, and your note is done for your assignment.